Hey guys, it's Gary here from iGBS Fitness, and as promised in future videos, you haven't seen them yet, but you'll see them. As promised, here is the training video that I'm going to do. I'm not trying to train you, don't get me wrong, it's not what it's about. It's explaining the way I'm going to be training in the gym while I'm doing my shredding. And pretty much the way I train most of the time anyway. Your training won't need to switch up that much for this. If anything, it doesn't really need to switch up at all. So I'm actually seated today, which is more fun because, well, my chair, it's a spinny chair and everyone loves a spinny chair. But yeah, so I'll get on with it now. First things first, now I cannot stress this enough. Cardio. Alright, now what type of cardio depends on you. Whether it's HIIT, whether it's cycling, whether it's actually just running to the gym, I don't know, whatever your thing. For me, it's 15 minutes of cardio in the morning. It's either a cycle where I increase the, I think it's the resistance it's called in the cycling, possibly. So I increase the resistance on the cycling every 5 minutes, so it gets tougher and tougher and try and keep it at the same RPM the whole way around. Similar situation with the treadmill. I will do an incline walk for 15 minutes. I will start off in like 3.5 and add 0.5 every time, every 15 minutes. Sometimes I'll do 20 minutes depending on how I'm feeling. Now, the reasoning for the cardio, even in the bulking season, I do this all the time. Mainly because, actually pretty much only because of the mindset it gets you in. You're in the gym, you walk in the gym, it's early or you're tired from work or just anything. You walk in the gym and you're like, oh, well, I could work out or I could not. I'll tell you what, I'll do a quick one and go. That will often happen if you do not do any sort of warm-up pre-thing. So you go into straight first lift, which will usually be your compound, and it'll be atrocious. You'll get down on yourself and it just goes on like that. And it's a vicious cycle. So what I'm going to do instead is I do a 15-minute walk. So like, okay, I'm in the gym. Okay, I'm in the gym. Now I'm definitely in the gym. Blood's moving, adrenaline's going, heavy music's playing in your ears. You're all set to go. So that's the first thing. Or second thing is the fact that it's also burning off calories, and in a bulking season, burning off calories isn't always a bad thing because you can afford to eat more. So the calories that you're going to be burning off will be the fats and the carbohydrates. Giving you more room for protein. Bulking season, carbs and protein, perfect. Also, third reason, and sort of a weird look on it, if you understand what I'm looking at. You understand once I've said it. You're building the muscles around your body, and you're growing, or shredding, or whatever you're doing. You're building them and making them better. They are going to need more of a blood flow. Now, your heart is also a muscle. Grow that too. If you grow that too, along with the rest of your body, you're not going to have any problems. Because otherwise it's going to be sitting there thinking, okay, I've got loads of fat around me, but the rest of me is really lean and looks awesome. So yeah, that's another reason why I do it. If I want to, I'm going to work all my muscles in my body, so why not the heart? The heart's also a muscle, as I said. That's my reasoning behind it. Second thing I do as soon as I get in the gym, that makes no sense. Okay, the second thing I do after cardio, I will move on to some ab work. Now, everyone these days want abs. Now, whether you want it for the aesthetic reasons, whether you want it because it's going to improve your strength, whether whatever your reasoning being, I don't know what it might be. Mine personally is it makes my core stronger, makes lifting easier, and also you got a six-pack. Come on, who doesn't want a six-pack? Also burns extra calories. So what I'll do is I'll often mix up 2 ab exercises with 2 to 3, maybe 4 warm-up exercises. So you'll see that in the leg workout that I'm going to post on Tuesday. You understand what I mean by that. So I'll often, most of the time, I'll do 20, 15, 12. So start off with no weight on it at all, or whatever it might be. Then go for 15, then go for 12 reps. And that'll get it's sort of, in some respects, it's almost like stretching. It's getting blood into the muscles. That's the way I sort of think about it. It's really weird to sort of explain, but I'm going to try anyway. So, for example, if I'm doing a squat or legs or anything like that, I'm going to be using my core. So I want to make sure my core is warm so that I don't pull anything, that I'm able to, second of all, lift as much as I can, and I've got a good tensile strength in the middle so that I can focus my energy onto my legs. If you're new to this, you probably don't know what I mean, but if you think about the muscle that you're working, you'll often work that muscle and you'll feel it a lot more than you would as if you're just going through the motions. Think about it and really sort of put your mind in the muscle. It's really weird to say. That's why you often see me just stare straight ahead, because all I'm thinking about is what my muscle is doing. I've got quite a good mental image of what the body looks like if it was to have any skin on it. So that's what I imagine, and imagine fibres tearing. It is quite in depth, and whether that's just me or whether that's a thing that everyone can do, I don't know. But it definitely works for me. It might work for you, but let's find out that way. So as I say, the abs, I'll do some. I also add hyperextension, so like warming up my lower back into abs, because it's all around the same sort of area. It's your core. So I'm just going to work around that circle of the abdominal area and the lower back area, just to make sure that it's nice and warm, nice and ready, and also you're going to gain, your abs are going to build up while you're doing it. So then also onto the warm-up exercises, as they were, the ones that I'll superset with the abs. So for example, what ones do I do for legs? For legs, I do the hip flexor, which is where you basically open your legs really wide, close them again, and they're weighted. Now that's often an exercise that most people miss out on, especially guys. Women not so much, because they have hips and they possibly have fat around their hips that they want to get rid of, or they want to have a nice bum. That will help you get a nice bum. But honestly, guys, doing that will improve your squat by quite a bit. Since starting, my squat's gone up by 30 kilos in not long at all. Not as long as it probably should have taken. So that's definitely a good one to do. But also it will make sure that the movement in your hips is ready for when you're putting a load on your shoulders and getting ready to squat. Along with, I do hamstring curls along for legs as well. So that's also another good one. It's just little things like that. So the muscles that the two main lifts that you're going to be doing, or one main lift, i.e. squat, bench press. So like with the chest, for example, I'll do a bench press, and my other main lift will probably be a fly. So they're the two sort of, they're different movements. So a bench press and you've got an incline bench press, they're pretty similar. So you only need to warm up sort of like the bench press and it'll get ready. So I'll do that with hammer strength press. But I'll use a pec deck as well as in part of the warm up, so that I've got blood in that part of the muscle. I know it's all the same muscle, but it's just sort of like a mental thing, so that you're ready for it and ready to go as soon as you need to. So again, I do something similar, whether it's 20, 15, 12, whether it's the 28 reps, which is 7 full ones, 7 upper half, 7 lower half, and another 7 full reps. That's also a really good technique as well. That's pretty decent. So yeah, that's basically the way I warm up, and I'll spend 15 minutes on that as well. Sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on how quickly I get through it and how awful it feels, because no one really likes working out under rubbish weight or just warming up or when you're not in the mood. So usually that'll be the rubbish bit of the workout, and then it just gets better from there. The next exercise, especially with legs, I'm really focusing on my legs at the moment, so a lot of this is planned out for my legs. What I will do is I'll go over to plate loaded leg press. Now, because that is a similar movement to squatting, but it's not. It's a similar movement, but it's nowhere near the same exercise. So what it's doing is it's getting your body, okay, I'm doing that movement. That movement is okay, and work my way up the weight. And see, won't go too heavy. I'll probably only go to like 150 kilos, and on plate leg press, that's not an extortionate amount. but it's your body sort of going, okay, I'm going to be squatting in a second. This is what this looks like. So by the time you're ready, you've got a slight pump on your legs. They're already semi-fatigued, so you'll get a better leg workout in, and everything will just pop as soon as you start doing squats. And what I mean by pop is, I don't mean injure yourself. I mean like they'll bulge out and they'll look damn good. Like I can't even begin to explain how good my legs look in my mind's eye anyway when I've done all this warming up. Warming up is really important, but if you can sort of incorporate it into your workouts or something that you're going to be doing, and it's going to help improve you as well, it doesn't feel like an exercise, but you're doing an exercise. So you're warming up, yeah, I've got to do this because or else I pull something. Well, actually, no, you're doing quite a decent reps here. You're doing just high reps. And then that will help you build some muscle. Or for women, it's sort of more of a toning thing. You won't be able to handle as much weight, and you won't want to. So it will be really good for you, really beneficial. Now, moving on to the first exercise of everything I will do. I will do the most compound exercise there is. So obviously you got your three main ones, which is bench press, squat, deadlift. I also count an overhead press with a barbell as a compound movement. I know it's not in powerlifting, but I think it's pretty well known that it should be a compound movement, and I don't know why they don't put it in powerlifting actually, but that'll be for another video. But yeah, I think that is definitely a really nice movement to work your way up in. And then for arms, I'll usually do a barbell curl. Because I work out in the mornings, I can be that arsehole that curls in the squat rack. No one else uses it in the morning. So if they are, I'll obviously speak to them, and if someone walks over, I'll be like, okay, you can use it. You know, I'm not going to be an arsehole about it. I can go curl in the middle of the floor, but the squat rack's just handy because you don't have to bend down and pick up the weight. But yeah, so what I'll do with the compound movement is, it depends what week I'm doing. So the way that I do it is I'll have a strength week, a volume week, and a contraction week. Now what I mean by contraction is focusing on the muscle, so it's really slow movements, really thinking about putting my mind in that muscle and holding it and just really stressing it out. So it's really sort of like, okay, you've had a really good workout, it's really, you're really hurting. And volume is high reps, so it's making sure that you get as much blood into there as possible. It is effective in the sense that it mixes up your workouts and keeps it interesting, so your body doesn't really know what's going to happen. But there's all sorts of theories on whether high volumes doesn't work or does work or whatever, and you can obviously skip any of these out if you want. It's your choice. I'm not giving you a workout, you're devising it yourself. But I like to personally do it because I do feel a really good pump after it, and it just feels good and you look good, and it's just a nice thing to do. It's almost like quote unquote a rest week without resting. So it's not putting your joints under too much pressure by doing it. So I think there's no harm in doing it. And obviously strength week is where you go as heavy as you can. Now on the strength week, I seem to go down then back up and going back down again. So with the strength week, what I'll often do is I won't go more than 5 reps on each set. So however many sets I do is depending on how quickly I break. So I'll do a couple of warm-up sets still, but I'll use the bar for like a bench press, just bar for like 20 reps. Then I'll move on to 5, however many I need to do. And then as soon as it gets too heavy where I can't do 5, I'll do 4, 3, 2, and eventually get down to my one rep max. That's a really fun week because you're just pushing yourself and you're just seeing how much you can lift. I think it's really important to do that now and again, even though it's a powerlifting style. As I don't like using the term, but as like a bodybuilder, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I train and eat like one, so technically I sort of am, but I don't like to put anything under a label because, well, I'm not a label, I'm a person. But as if you're training for aesthetics like I am, I think that's a better way to put it. Strength training will help you lift more in the future, because, well, if you can put 20 kilos on a bar and rep out 12 reps, then, and you keep doing that, you're gonna rep out 20. You're just gonna be able to do 12 and maybe move up in a certain amount of weight, not weight but reps. You're not gonna probably push yourself to do an extra weight, whereas you could probably be doing 100 kilos for the same amount of reps, but you're just used to that. So I think a strength week will really help determine where you're at and how many you can do. Just remember that with a strength week and a volume week, it's completely different. So the weights will change quite a lot. So don't get too disheartened when you pick up, I don't know, when you put 60 on the bar and fail, instead of having 100 or whatever you can do. I don't know what you can do. So that's another important thing. Now, I often do the 5 of how many on the compound movement, because the compound movement on a strength week is the main thing. Then I'll do some accessory stuff, or detailing as I call it, which is where like the flyers come in, where it's more of a bodybuilding aesthetic sort of thing to it. So you're just trying to chisel down the outsides and make it look pretty, basically. Whereas, so on that sort of thing, I will do 12, 10, 8, 6, or something similar, where I do a pyramid similar workout. So I will, I don't know, let's say fly, I do 12 and work up my weight, and like I did in the Wednesday workout that I'm going to be posting on Wednesday. So you'll see what I mean by that, and that's always quite a good method, doing a little bit of pyramid and working your way up. Now, what I'll do on a volume week is I'll do 20 reps of how many sets I can, minimum 3, always minimum 3 sets, because I feel that 4 sets is a good amount, 5 sets is obviously way better. 5 sets is the time when you're really pushing yourself. But 3 is, if you push for time, I'll sometimes do 3. And I don't really like doing 3 that often, but it's sometimes just necessary. I'm switching hands, that hand went dead. So that's a really, really sort of high volume. Really will kill your muscles, it really will burn. And that's going to be more effective for you in a shredding season. It's also good in bulking season as well, but it's going to have more effect on you in the shredding season. So that's a really good sort of idea to put behind your workout. So make sure you have it in there at some point, whether it be once every 3 weeks like I do, whether it be once every month, I don't know, that's down to you to decide. But as I say, I think it's really good. Excuse the messy bed, by the way, didn't notice that until I turned the camera on. The contraction week, I will go between 8 to 12 reps for each set. I won't be going too high, too heavy. It will be literally what I can move and have complete control over it. So I could move it as fast or as slow as I wanted, but it's still putting strain on my muscles. This is something that's going to be, is very, 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 very useful. It's very good. I would say if I wanted to, if I had to keep one of these weeks alone, I would keep the contraction week. It's so good. It does take a lot of time, and when you're first starting out, it is difficult to know which weight to use, because as a guy, you're always going to be going, hey, I can lift as much as I can. Well, actually, this is not what this is about. This is going to get you better results than doing that. These people on YouTube that you watch, I don't know, let's call some names out right here, like Kai Green. Kai Green's a perfect person to watch. Yeah, you may not want to look like him with the bubble gut and everything. I personally don't think that's what I want to end up like, but that's just me. People out there do, no problem with it, do your thing. You have your own goals, you achieve them, and you can do as much as you want. But his philosophy behind the whole bodybuilding and the whole aesthetic side of things and how to build muscle is second to none. That guy is absolutely phenomenal. What he does is he does a similar thing to what I do, and that's how I can sort of relate to that, and that's how I've managed to describe it, because whenever anyone asked me to do it before, I could not describe it. Why do you shut your eyes when you work out? Well, because I'm getting my head in the muscle and I'm doing my thing and I don't know. But really, it's a mind-muscle connection. It's just thinking about it and making sure you're doing exactly, you're getting your head inside it and physically thinking what you're doing. If I'm not doing that, I'll look in the mirror and watch the muscle, make sure it's contracting if it's too pumped. But that's another thing. But yeah, so he'll say, for the shoots and things, yeah, he'll go heavy because that's what they ask him to do. They want to see him shift heavyweight, which he can, he's huge. But on a day-to-day basis, he's not going to go over a certain weight because that's where he's going to build muscle. He's going to be able to get as much blood into the muscle and get the best stretch, which are the two key things, is the stretch and the contraction. Anyone that lifts weights, that should be one of the first things you learn, is you want to get as good of a stretch as you can on the muscle without opening up another muscle group, and you want to get as good a contraction as you can while still keeping tension on the muscle. They're the two main things of lifting weights. That's just the main thing about it. So if you're not doing that because you're dropping the weight down in a fly or in a bicep curl, you cannot lift it back up when your arm's completely stretched, then you need to move down the weight, dude. That's just the end of it. So that's where the contraction week comes in, and you'll build the most muscle in that week. It's not necessarily the most fun because you're sitting there and you're really burning, you're really aching, and it sucks, the feeling. The pump obviously feels really good, but the burn and everything else, when you walk out the gym, you'll feel like shit. Well, possibly the next day then. I think walking out the gym, you feel pretty damn good about yourself. I think everyone does. But the next day, you'll feel like shit. But that is definitely something that I incorporate in all my workouts. Anytime I do a workout plan for myself, I will do the volume, the strength, and the contraction weeks in them, just to mix it up, just to keep it interesting. Now, I am also going to try and do bodyweight exercise as well, for example, dips, pull-ups, chin-ups, stuff like that. I've never been too good at them. I've always weighed too much than I can lift. Now, as I'm shredding down, hopefully I should be able to get that, get my wide grip pull-ups into shape and get a decent amount going. So hopefully I'll be able to do that. Now, I do train 6 days a week. That'll be Sunday to Friday. Sunday, I'll get onto in a second. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'll do back, shoulders, legs, chest, arms. Now, the reason why I do it that way is, I'll explain just now, because of Sunday. Sunday is the day where I work my full legs. Now, legs I find are the longest day to do because you've got so many different muscles in them. You've got the teardrop, you've got the sweep, you've got the hamstring, which is like upper and lower you've got to do. You've then got your calves, and I also like working my glutes on the same day, and I also do some whatever's lagging. So at the moment it's my biceps. So then I'll train legs twice because my legs are lagging completely and I want to get really, really big legs. I don't know why, it's just in my head that I want some big legs, so I'm going to get them. So I train legs twice a week. Also, squats burn the most calories, so I guess in shredding season that makes sense, which I just thought about now, so making videos does help. So with my legs, I work the whole leg, and then the way my body works is I won't feel stiff the day after. I feel stiff the day after that. So if I train legs on Sunday, my legs will be dying on Tuesday, like full on dying, won't be able to walk. Then by Wednesday they'll be recovered and ready for another leg workout. So I'll do back the day after because I will be able to get as much out of my deadlifts as I can, and my deadlifts are my strongest point, so I don't have to worry about them too much. I don't really want to go much heavier just yet until I'm back into bulking. I can do about 150 kilos roughly. So I think that's a good point to sort of stable out at the moment. We'll see how that goes. I don't know where I'm going to go with the weights yet. So I'll do back that day just to make sure that I have got enough energy in my legs and everything to do it, and I won't be feeling stiff after that as well, so that's always good. Then shoulders is the complete opposite to back for me because it's a pushing exercise, back's a pulling exercise, and it's working a completely opposite muscle, and I'll be good with that. Also, I'll get a semi-pump shoulders ready for when I'm squatting and doing legs the next day. Now, legs on midweek, because legs is such a long day for me, I will do legs is a bit of an exaggeration on the Wednesday workout. I do quads and calves, main leg imparts in my legs. So I'll do my quads and my calves. They're the ones I want to build the most. My calves are absolutely appalling, as you'll see in the workouts next week. So I'll do that and get them going. So I squat twice a week because, well, squat's fun and it's my favourite exercise, burns most calories. It adds a lot of benefits to it. And there's just something about standing underneath that bar, putting it on your shoulders, that just feels good. Whether that's just me, I don't know. I used to hate squats as well. This is really strange that I do them twice a week now. I used to avoid them at all costs. Sopping hands again, went dead. So yeah, and the day after that I'll do chest. Used to be my favourite day, not so much anymore, because I've realised that chest is actually my weakest day, I think. Shoulders is pretty strong, back's pretty strong, chest is alright, arms are alright, but yeah, so I'll do chest after legs, because it's, again, different body muscle, different muscle group, sorry, it is a different body muscle, but yeah. Press and movement yet again, quite a fun workout. I usually do a similar thing most times, which we'll see this week, next week, sorry. I'm already recording the videos in advance, so just to make it easier on myself. Now, with the arm workout, I work biceps and triceps. Now, because I usually do a bit of extra biceps on a Sunday, I will push them to their extent, but I won't be able to get as much out of them, and I feel that I have to incorporate triceps a little bit more and do a bit more work on them, even though they're a lot bigger than my biceps. So sometimes I'll do a little bit extra triceps than biceps. Sometimes I'll do it the other way around, depending on what I'm feeling and how my triceps are feeling, because obviously I've done chest today before. So I often do that. I will, once I figure out what my plan is, I will do an actual plan on it. Obviously I might change that up on some days where I go, actually, do you know what, I'm feeling awesome. 5 of 5? No, I'm doing 5 of 8 or whatever. I'll change it up some days, and I will let you know in the video, but it will depend on how awesome I'm feeling. Some days I'll just feel really shit, and I'll be like, okay, you want me to do 4 sets? Nah, I actually can't move that. It will just stop halfway through. And it really depends on how your muscle is feeling, how much you've had to eat, or whatever, I don't know. So basically that is my training program-ish, very, very basic look on it, on the techniques I'll be using. Now, speaking of techniques that I'll be using, there will be some things that I'll be using, like supersets, drop sets, that I will be speaking about. Now, for the people that don't know what they are, a superset is where you immediately go from one exercise to the other. Say, for example, I've just finished doing incline dumbbell press. I'll then pick up some weights and do incline dumbbell flies at the same, immediately after each other, no break in between. And that'll be like 2 sets in one, as it were. So I'll do, say if I'm doing 4 sets of the superset, 8 sets, but it'll be 4 sets. Does that make sense? So incline, bench press, incline fly, rest. That's 1 set. Makes sense. That's what superset is, and obviously you get a tricep, quad set, and it just goes up as how many exercises you're doing. Not many people do more than superset nowadays because they call it overtraining. Now, I don't really believe in that, but that's just my personal view. So I do, I will sometimes do a quad set or a tricep or whatever. Just depends on how I'm feeling and how much time I've got, because obviously a superset will save you time. Also, what I will do is drop sets. Now, drop sets or the stripping method is pretty much the same thing. Now, the drop set is, well, the way I do it is say if you're doing a 10 kilo dumbbell curl, you drop it down to 5 and do to fail like a superset as soon as you finished. soon as you finish your last set. So you drop it, half it. Sometimes I'll half the weight and double the reps. That's my minimum. So double the reps is a minimum unless I'm doing 5 reps of it. So if I do 8 reps of it, I'll do 16 reps of the drop set, or go on like that, or a minimum of 16. Now, the difference between a drop set and the stripping method is say if you've got, let's say someone's really, really strong. So they've managed to get 5 plates on the bar on each side. So they work their way up. They will then take 1 plate off each side, go back and do it as a superset. Then again take another plate off, do it to fail, superset, and all the way until you're down to just bar. Now that is an absolute killer that I found on Arnold Schwarzenegger's Blueprint, which is a really, really good workout routine if you're just getting started. That is definitely a thing I've kept from his workout, and I will probably keep for the rest of the time I train. But anyway, that was my workout routine. This time I don't have anything to add on to the end of it. I'm going to get editing this now, and I'll speak to you guys later.